The dead of this town do not come home. This is the story of the night one of them did. At the end of the last maintained road in the world, there is a town. It has a wall, a gate, and one way out. A road lined with copper bells, post after post, all the way to the horizon. The bells are not decoration. Everyone who walks that road rings each bell they pass, because the ringing keeps something off the road. Nobody has ever seen it whole. What they see is what it leaves: a cord cut clean and dressed to look weathered, mushrooms coming up where nothing should grow, a stretch of road that a rung bell keeps and a silent bell gives away. The people who live there do not argue about what it is. They ring the bells and they live. The town runs on salvage. Crews go out through the gate in the morning, pick the bones of the drowned and ruined places, and come back before dark. At the gate there is a book, and every name that goes out is written in it, and every name that comes back is signed in beside it. On a good day, the book balances. When it does not balance, there is no search party. Nobody goes out at night, not for coin, not for kin. The road belongs to the dark after sundown, and storms are worse. Hard rain drowns the sound of the bells, and on those nights the town bars its shutters and lets the road go. It has learned, at a price that took generations to pay, that a name that does not come back is a name you close the book on. The count goes one short, and that is the end of it. Idney Yar walked out with the Pitcott crew on an ordinary morning. Cured rope over one shoulder, breakfast still warm in him, the same as 100 mornings before. He rang his bells going out. Every man in the crew will tell you that. He rang his bells. Whatever happened out there happened quietly. The Pitcott crew came back before dark, the way crews do, and stood in the gate yard while the keeper ran his finger down the page. One line stayed empty. The crew stood there in their road dust and let the silence say it. The keeper drew the line closed himself. No bells tolled for Idney. That is not the custom. The custom is smaller and harder. His name stops being spoken at the gate. His kit goes up on the board by the gatehouse, and the town waits a decent interval before anyone says the word dead out loud in front of the Yar house. The town had done this many times. It knew how. Food left at the door, work found for idle hands. Grief in a town like this is a procedure because it has to be. And that should have been the end of the story. The road takes someone, the book closes, the bells keep ringing. That is the shape of every loss this town has ever had. This one came back. It was a black, windy night, the kind where the whole bell line mutters to itself and the watch stands hunched under the wall lanterns. Kalel Rushrow had the gate that night. He was 19 years old, and the worst thing he had ever seen from that wall was weather. Past midnight, out at the far edge of hearing, a bell rang. Then the next one, then the next. Understand what that means in a town like this. The bells on the road are rung by travellers, one post at a time, coming or going, in order, at a walking pace. Nobody travels at night. Nobody. And yet, post after post, out of the east, something was ringing its way toward town, patient as a man coming home from work. The watch woke the wall. Lanterns went up. The ringing came on, unhurried, never missing a post, and the wind carried just enough of it to count the distance shrinking. 10 posts. 8. 5. The watchers who caught it in their lantern light, at the edge of where lantern light means anything, swore afterward, quietly, and never in front of the family, that it was Idney. Same coat, same walk. It rang every post like a living man, and living is exactly what it did not look like. Someone said his name out loud. Nobody said it twice. The gate stayed barred. That was not cruelty. That was the oldest arithmetic this town knows. Whatever knocks after dark is not the person you lost, no matter whose coat it wears. and a gate opened for grief has cost this town more than any storm. Kalel stood his post and did not open it. 19 years old, listening to something wearing a dead man's walk ring its way up the road, and he held the line the town needed held. One post out, close enough that the next ring would have been at the gate itself, the ringing stopped. No footsteps, no knock, no voice. The last bell swung to stillness and the road went quiet, and the wind filled back in where the ringing had been. The watch stood staring into the dark until their lanterns burned low, and nothing came out of it, and nothing rang again until dawn. When the light came up, the east road was empty. Every bell hung still on its post, the way bells should, as if nothing had walked there at all. The town never wrote it down. There is no entry in the gate log for that night, no ruling, no name. The keeper's page says only wind, but a town is not its ledgers. By morning, the story had already made its quiet round of the drinking houses, told low over cups, the way this town tells the things it will not write. And in every telling, one rule had already attached itself, agreed by nobody and kept by everyone, which is how the oldest rules here were made. His family would not hear it from a stranger. Someone who had known Idna all his life walked to the Yare house and knocked, and what was said inside stayed inside. The town gave them that. It could not give them Idna back, and it could not tell them what came up the east line wearing his coat. But it could make sure the worst news in the world arrived gently, from a friend, the way bad news should. The bells still ring on the east road, every day, every post, every hand. The count still balances, or it does not. And if you ask anyone in that town why nobody, ever, opens the gate after dark, they will not tell you a story. They will just look east. They ring the bells, and they live.